Maria Chrétien, yay. Okay, so full disclosure, it is 8:30 here. I am 7 months pregnant. I just finished a class, put my kid to bed, and I just want to show you, because I'm going to be standing up and using a whiteboard. I have Christmas pajamas on the bottom. So I'm just keeping it real tonight, all the way from Halifax, Nova Scotia. But I'm keeping it real because we're going to talk about money. And as Carol mentioned earlier, this is either a happy place, a mediocre place, or a not so happy place of a conversation for most people to chat about. But I'm going to talk about, listen, we've all talked about money, Mary Kay. There's reasons why you join this business, and there's reasons why you stay. Lying and saying money is not a part of it is a lie. I'm just going to call that out right now. Because usually it's what keeps somebody. If they're looking to run a business and start and they don't make money, what do they end up doing? They end up leaving. They end up saying, Mary Kay didn't work for me. But what I've learned the most throughout this business is that most people, and I'm going to generalize and say women because that's who 90% of the time we're working with, don't manage their money properly. I know. I'm seeing a little head nods, a little like maybe a tear shedding. Most people don't manage their money properly. What I'm going to talk to you about is not necessarily managing your money properly, because you've already heard that throughout the way. So if it hasn't sunk in, you're going to want to go back and watch the YouTube videos. We can, again, share the link with you so you can go see them all. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is I'm going to talk to you about two things. The first one is going to be why you need to share this business with every woman you know that has a face. Because I'm going to go over her financial landscape with you, and it's going to either hit you in the heart, or you're going to think of somebody that this could really hit in the heart. And all of a sudden, I want to show you how this business as a whole can benefit them. So what I asked the ladies, what I asked Angie, what I asked Carol, what I asked Raven, they actually didn't answer me. But I asked what the average income was for a working female in their town and in their city. I want you to think about what you think the average income is for a woman per year in your town or in your city. Now, I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia. The average, I'm not talking about the income you would like to hear a female make. I'm talking about the average. Generally here, unfortunately, it's around 38,000. And I know you guys are living across the country, so I'm going to go up a little higher, and I'm going to work with the number of $45,000 a year. So on average, I'm saying that women in Canada are making an average of $45,000 a year, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn around the camera. You're gonna see a whiteboard on the wall in my office, and I'm gonna write on it. You guys can take these notes. And what I want you to do is, if you are making currently, if you're working full-time, or you know somebody who is, and you're making $45,000, this is you. If you're making less than that, just know that the numbers I'm giving you, obviously, you need to drop them a little bit. If you're making higher than that, just know you're going to raise up as you go through, okay? So what this is called, and I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit, this is called the cost incurred in working outside the home. Now, this is a great example for you, and this is a great example for you to mull in your mind when you're meeting women at your appointments and people that you've already facialed. You might just get to understand their financial landscape a little bit more, that you might open your mouth and share this business opportunity just a little bit more quickly, okay? So, cost incurred in working. I'm gonna flip this around. For those of you who've been to my house, I have a whiteboard in my office. So cost incurred in working. I will take a picture of this and ensure that it shows up in the video when it's posted on YouTube. But I want you to take notes along the way. So don't mind my Christmas pajamas if you get to see them. Lucky for you. So we're going to work with $45,000 a year. Can you see that? Now, I chose Ontario tax. If you're living in a different province, you can Google it and find out what a person is taxed on $45,000 a year. It actually ends up being $9,264 in tax. That's what you end up taking off. And I base this on in Ontario because I just kind of went with a neutral province that I'm not in. And those of you that are in Ontario, this is you. So 45,000. I'm going to do this on a monthly basis because what I want to know is, what does it cost you as a woman per month to go to work? So 772. So this is this divided by 12. So this is 77.2 in tax per month. What are some other things that you have to pay each month to go to work? Now, normally when I do this in a group, I ask them to tell me what it is. Since we're a little bit different today, I'm going to write down what I covered. Gas, car payment. Because if you're not driving a company car, I'm sure you're paying for one. If you aren't, congratulations. Insurance for your car. Cell phone. Nowadays, y'all have one. Parking. For those that are living outside the city and working in the city, you've got to pay for parking. I'm going to write lunch / coffee. So I'm sure some of you, when you drive to work, you grab a coffee and a bagel on your way to work. I used to work at Tim Hortons for 10 years. Thank you very much for your patronage. Appreciate that. I'm going to also write one more thing, that clothes, boots, getting your hair done, nails, eyelashes, whatever it is you do, facials, basically personal grooming. So these are all the things that it would cost you to go to work. As you've noticed, there's some things that aren't included in that. And I did that for a reason, and I'll go over that in a bit. But when I usually do this with a group of people, I ask them and create the averages out of the people in the room. Can everybody hear me okay? Just give me a quick nod. Okay, I love you. Thank you, Desiree. I can see your face. So what I usually get per gas, and listen, I'm gonna go on a low, but usually most people say they spend between $40 and $50 a week. So I'm gonna choose $45 a week that you spend in gas to go to work. That's 5 days back and forth. As you know, that's low. On a monthly basis, that's $180. Now, I'm going to go on a car payment. A car payment a month, again, I have no clue what any of you are driving, but usually when I ask a group of people, and I've traveled all over the country doing this, but usually when I ask a group of people, they can say anywhere between $200 and $400. I'm actually going to pick $250 a month. Because trust me, if you're anywhere higher than that, making $45,000, you are, for lack of a better word, screwed. Insurance for a female. If you're a really great driver, congratulations, you're probably under $100 a month. But I'm going to put 100 because usually we've got some people that have a fender bender and some that don't. So this is all monthly costs. Cell phone. If you have a smartphone, which most of you do, usually you're anywhere between 70 and 120. I'm going to pick 100 a month. Is your cell phone bill? That's mine, 110. Parking. Gracious sakes. I have no clue what you people pay in parking a month. I'm going to add it in there. If you don't have parking, don't add it in. But I'm going to say 100 a month. Excuse me. And then lunch and coffee. This one will surprise you, but it's called the latte factor. What is it that you spend on coffee or lunch, going out with coworkers, coffee and a bagel on the way to work? Maybe you grab an afternoon tea with a coworker. What do you think you spend on lunch and coffee in the run of a week going to work, Monday to Friday? Usually when I do this group, Most people will fight back and forth anywhere between $15 and $30. I usually land on about $25 a week. So that's another $100 a month. This last one here, this one astounds me every time, but I want you to think on what you spend on your hair. If you got gray, you're coloring your hair every 5 to 6 weeks. Clothes to go to work, pantyhose, shoes, winter boots, winter coats, bras, getting your nails done, eyelashes, having a facial, getting your hair done. What else can I think of? Underwear, pantyhose, boots, heels, whatever it is, winter coats, summer coats, hats, mitts. What is it that you would spend in the run of a month to dress yourself, to clothe yourself? You can't go to work naked. That's just not a thing. I mean, if you're going to work naked, then, I mean, congrats, that's a job too. Absolutely. But on average, when you Google this, there was a couple of studies done, but it's usually, they say it's about $2,500 a year that a woman spends on all of these things put together. So a run of 4 seasons, I mean, I personally think that's really low, but it comes out to about $208 a month. Now, one thing I didn't put in here was makeup. But most women, when they're going to work, they do a little something to their face. If they're not in Mary Kay, how much do you think they might spend a month on a moisturizer, a cleanser, a foundation, a mascara, a lip gloss, a lip balm? What would they spend? I'm just going to say I'm going to go low, 20 bucks. We all know you spend more than that. You wouldn't have a business otherwise, but I'm going to keep it really low. Okay. This is going to make you cry. I added a couple things in here, so I'm just going to, 1935. Okay, so your total actually is $1,935. So that's what you spend going to work a month. I would like someone, just because I did it on another number. I would like somebody to multiply that by 12. Desiree, will you multiply that by 12 and yell it out to me?
I was just going to ask, I have a calculator, but what was the number again?
1,935.
23,220.
I would like you to subtract that from 45,000. So basically 45,000 minus 23,220.
21,780.
So that is how much you take home after tax and expenses of just going to work on a $45,000 income. Does anybody want to cry yet? Feel free to take off your microphone and tell me if you'd like to cry.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to tell you what's not included in these expenses that I have not included yet.
Daycare.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Daycare. Your kids are now strapped by a rope outside your office because you can't afford it. Daycare. What else is missing? Rent or mortgage.
Utilities.
Utilities.
Taxes. Property taxes.
Property taxes.
Entertainment.
Yeah, internet. If you have a school or student loan, or if you have debts already that you are paying, so if you have a Visa or 2 or a line of credit that you're paying, I'm not including any of that.
Groceries.
Oh yeah, by the way, you haven't eaten yet. Or fed your family. So how does that make you feel? I want to tell you what what is considered low income in Canada, and I want you to write this down. It's 22,133. What do you notice? You are below that. And you still have at least 5 to 6 things you haven't paid yet. Da, da, da.
You have $20 to eat.
That's right. I mean, we're not even, this is just you. This is just individual you. This does not consider a family or anything else. And there's also, the other thing I didn't consider is if you work for the government, you've got union dues, you've got a bunch of other crap, all kinds of other stuff to pay for. And if your insurance is not covered, that payment is in there too. And by the way, you haven't gone to the dentist because you can't afford it. So if you make more than this, you can Google it and do the math yourself and figure out what you're taking home. But what this tells you is the landscape of women in Canada. This is a landscape of women that you're sitting across from, showing them product and not offering them the opportunity. Guess what happens when they join the business? And guess what happens for you when you become a Mary Kay consultant? Cell phone becomes a portion of a write-off. Insurance for your car becomes a write-off. Car payment becomes a write-off. Gas becomes a write-off. Some parking becomes a write-off. Some meals at 50% and coffee become a write-off. And if you buy a red jacket and all that fun stuff, oh, and your makeup, yay, becomes a write-off. All this stuff becomes tax deductible. And we haven't even talked about the things you can't pay yet. Daycare, rent, mortgage, utilities, property taxes, and internet. Every one of these things is a tax write-off. Does that make you feel better? So this, for no other reason, should make you feel so amazing about the money that can go back in your pocket and money back in women that you're sitting with's pocket by offering them the opportunity. So I want to take a picture of that. I'll leave it there. I'll take a picture of that and post it on. But I had this shared with me years ago by Angie Stoker. And this is something that she teaches a lot. And she would recruit people for no other reason than having them cry by the time that they got to this area, because what it showed them that's exactly where they were. And it showed them, and what she'd say, for those of you that are in this position, you probably have 2 maxed credit cards that you are going to have to consolidate in the next 2 years. And if you don't get a handle on it, you're going to have to consolidate debt again in the next 5. So the 2 things that you can do to alleviate this situation is make more money and have a tax break. So you have 2 of those opportunities both in Mary Kay to do that. That makes sense? I really hope it does. It's something that got me a lot, and as much as I can possibly share it, I will. I think it's so important. And when you sit with a woman and don't offer her this opportunity, she could be in this exact same position wondering how she's going to pay the next bill. And you had an opportunity sitting in your hand and you didn't give it away. So if nothing else, I wanted this to, 1, give you hope that you've got a great business that you're running, an amazing opportunity to share with other people because of the money and what it does for you. Now, here's one thing I want to teach about money. I'm brass tacks. I love this stuff. This stuff got me quite a bit. So I'm going to teach one more thing, and I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Does anybody have any questions about that? Cost incurred and working? No?
I just want to say one thing. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Just looking at the numbers like this, I have 4 children.
Yeah.
And if I had to put my kids in full-time daycare, it would be almost $3,000 a month in Newfoundland for 4 children in daycare.
Yep.
That's $36,000 right there.
There you go. And so you are literally you're $15,000 in debt.
Yeah, like I've done nothing. I haven't even bought groceries to feed a family of 6.
That's right. So what does that teach you? Give it away. You're in a good place. You're in Mary Kay.
Time to go to work.
Time to go to work. That's right. So here's what I'm going to teach you next. I'm going to leave this up there because I'm going to take pictures of it later. I'm going to teach you next, and I'm just going to move my camera over. So as you can see, look, that's me tracking my sales for the month. Can you see that? So what you track, you attack. So I track it every time I sell something. I track it. I usually have a goal for the month. My month personal right now is 6,000. I'll usually go for that. So I'm going to teach you how, by investing in yourself, what it would take to pay off your investment. Is anybody interested in this? Okay, good answer. So I am going to move my desk a little bit. Perfect. Okay. So first thing, I'm going to do something and I'm going to teach you what a face really means to you. What a face money-wise means to you. And so when I teach this a little bit, again, I usually do it in a group and I ask who's in the group, what is an average sale to one face? What would be your average sale to one face? So feel free to yell some out. Take your microphone off and yell to me what one face is.
$100.
Okay, anybody else?
I aim for a miracle set, so 159.
Okay, I like it. Anybody else? Okay, nobody else does any faces whatsoever and sells anything.
Mine's around 70. Like if I
70?
add all the facials.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so a rough average would be 80. I'm gonna go with one face equals $80. And you guys can write this, and obviously if you sell more per face, then wicked. You're gonna pay off your investment faster. So one face equals 80 bucks. If you did your 60-40 split on your $80 sale, can you guys see that okay? 60% would be $48 and 40% would be $32. Now, what we usually teach is that $48 pays your investment if you've made one. So in other words, you might have started with $600, and I'm just saying maybe you have $600 worth of product on your shelf. Maybe you started with 12, maybe you started with 18, maybe you started with 24, maybe you started with 3,000. Whatever your investment is, your 60% goes to pay that. Your 40% goes to pay what it is you want. So it either pays other debt that you've joined the business to pay off. It could be your shoe fund. It could be your power bill fund. When I first started, it was to pay a power bill and a cell phone bill and outstanding debt. Or it could be your buy a house account. That's where the 40% goes. So what I'm going to teach you is how fast you can pay off initial investments. This is a great lesson for you to have, so you understand in more depth how the business works, and especially when you recruit that new team member, because you're going to share, because you know a little bit more of a financial landscape. This gives you the confidence to know how quickly that investment can be paid off. So I'm not sure if this is what you were looking for tonight, but this is what you're going to get. So if you started with a $600 wholesale investment, I'm going to do Nova Scotia tax because that's what I work with. So when you do this, use your own tax rate for your own province. But it's $180 tax. We're at 15% here. So $180 tax. So your initial investment, if we do a $600, is $780. So I told you that the 60% based on one face was 48 bucks. So I'm teaching you how to pay off the whole thing plus the tax. So $780 divided by one face's profit equals 16.25 faces. Guess what that is? Oh, not money. That's a perfect start, ladies. A perfect start pays off your initial $600 investment. And remember, I did that on a low at $80. Some of you said 100, some of you said 159, some of you said 70. So that's what your $600 investment does. Let's say you decided to start with a $1,200 investment. And when I say you started with a $1,200 investment, let's just say you were restarting your business. You decided you're a seasoned consultant. You're like, you know what? I'm giving her in 2020. I'm going to restart. I'm going to invest 600 in myself. I'm going to do a 600 wholesale at the beginning of February. I'm going to do a 1,200 wholesale at the beginning of February. This is how you would have it paid off and profit done. So what you can essentially do is take 16 and multiply by 16 faces and multiply that by 32 and you'll have your profit. In other words, whatever's in your Nadia fund, pays your debt shoe fund. So I'm just showing you how to pay off your investment. Take $32 multiplied by 16, you'll have how much profit you have. So 1,200 wholesale Nova Scotia plus the tax. I'm sure you guys can figure this out at 15%. Equals $360. So that total of 1,200 plus 360 is 1,560. 1,560, that's my total investment divided by $48 equals, guess what? 32.5 faces. So a 1,200 wholesale will take you a power start to pay it off. Seeing 30 faces. So when a new woman joins your team and she's considering if she'd like to carry inventory or not, you can rightfully say, if you put this product on 15 faces, you'll have this paid off and you'll have this amount of profit. If you put the product on 30, when you put the product on 30 faces, you'll have your $1,200 investment paid off as well as you'll have this much profit. So this is something I use all the time. So $1,800 investment, you guys can obviously figure out the math here. And I didn't do it, but times 15%, it's around $2,400, actually $2,450, and it's plus 16 faces of there. So it's 48.5 faces will pay off in 1,800. I'm gonna take a picture of both of those. What I want you all to do is figure out what your profit is. What's in your fund bank account? Now that to me is fun. I was never a big numbers person. Hi, I'm back. I was never a big numbers person. But I learned to become a numbers person when I didn't have any numbers to work with. In other words, when I started, money was tight, and I'm talking tight. You know, had a home, did all that. I mean, basically you could have called me house poor. But when I learned how to work the numbers in this business, which is one thing I will say is not taught a ton in school. It's not taught a lot throughout life, unless you're in that field of work. So, you know, you come to places like this and you get the learning that you need. What I can't do, and what your director and your leader can't do, is hold your hand and physically put the money, the 60% here and the 40% here. That's what we can't do. But what we can do is give you the tools and teach you how to run it properly. Now, you know, some people love to spend money. Some people love to take that 40% and go wild and then wonder why they have no extra cash, or wonder where did my Mary Kay money go? And who usually asks you, where did your Mary Kay money go? It's generally your spouse, if you have one, that asks you where it went. So when you can show that 60-40 split and how that you can pay that off, and you're keeping 40 for you in the family fund, in the going to Disney fund, into paying for the new roof fund, which are all real things, that's when you've got a partner that will be on board with you. And that's when you've got a partner that can see the cash. Because two things that men know most, if your partner is a man generally, because their biggest concern is that they know sex and money. So we can help you with the money part, sex things all on your own. But those are the things that I found, that when you learned and understood that, you could sit better in front of a woman. And when you ask her, you know, what are your big dreams? And what do you do for a living? And what do you love to do during the day? And if you had $1 gazillion, what would you do with it? What are your big dreams? Understanding the landscape of her financial situation when you're sharing about the business opportunity just gives you a leg up to know, and helps build your confidence and sure up your mind around what this business opportunity has to offer for them. It's unbelievable. So when I had that shared with Angie, I remember sitting in her living room and she shared it, and like my mouth was on the ground because I was like, oh my gosh. And she did it on 40,000, and on 40,000, the cost incurred of working, like, don't do it. It's crying material. So I just remember like tears coming to my eyes, and I'm being like, oh my gracious, like, no wonder people are struggling. It's hard to even get past, you know, like you can't even put your kid in daycare. So I hope that this one was a tough one. Money's always a tough one, but I hope you walk away with a couple of tools tonight. I want to open it up because money's always one that you should be able to ask questions about. But I want you to open it up. If anybody has a specific question, I am not an accountant, but I certainly enjoy doing this stuff. And I always find that if you can see the numbers and understand them, you can better equate them when you're running your business. When you're running willy-nilly and you don't know what's going on with the numbers, then that's when you're really just running willy-nilly and you're not meeting your goals. So I'll open it up. Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, Nadia.
Yeah.
I missed a part at the beginning when you were doing costs incurred from working outside the home. You went from $208 per month to $1,000, and I missed the link in there.
Oh, like $208 a month was what the average woman pays for clothes, boots, hairs, nails, eyelashes, and facial per month.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually a study done on like 5,000 women, that what they figured out in Canada was that a woman pays around $2,500 a month for all of, or $2,500 a year for all of those things. And so 2,500 was divided by 12.
Okay. That's all.
I think that's low, honestly, but
yeah.
I mean, you're all getting your nails done once a month, so. Anybody else have any questions? Hi, Raven. Was that helpful?
I think it was awesome. I think it's really great to see the different perspectives, right? Like, because I remember Angie showed us that years ago, and I've never seen that before, but it's kind of like a slap in the face, and it's like, okay, I got to get something changed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so what I hope it does is I hope it nobody hang up because I got to get all your names. I hope what it does is just at least allow you to look at your own situation and make sure you're taking advantage of the tax advantages that you have. And looking at your own situation will just say to you, listen, I need to make more money in 2020, and I have a prime opportunity sitting in front of me. What do I need to do to get this done, to add, you know, an extra 5 or an extra 10 grand to this income? The other thing was, so you could externally, when you're sitting with someone and sharing the business opportunity, understand that this is the landscape out there, and what you're offering as a home-based business and a side hustle with Mary Kay is so much more than that. It can change a person's world. I mean, each one of the speakers here could tell you a story about how it changed their world. I mean, Carol has talked about hers at seminar all the time, you know, very, very frequently. And it's something that's so tried and true. And so I just hope that shares an opportunity with you. Last but not least, I will share one more thing. You saw my faces demonstration. Let's say you have a trip to Disney planned with your family. Now, I know a lovely lady here said she had 4 kids in Newfoundland, 2 parents. What it would cost for her to go to Disney, let's say that's $7,500, okay? Divide that by 80 bucks. That'll tell you how many faces you're, divided by 48, sorry, that'll tell you how many faces you need to do to get to Disney World. And what I've learned with a goal in this business is that if you don't tie it to something, it's not a goal. If you don't tie a date to it, what the goal actually is, it's not one. But what I've also learned is that the elephant is huge. $7,500 to go to Disney sounds large, maybe. 10 grand, it sounds large, but when you break it down into bite-sized little pieces, kind of like when you take a bite of the elephant, one piece at a time, and you break that down, you can do a number of faces. And you tell people, say, listen, I'm in a challenge. I'm taking my kids to Disney World, and my challenge is to see 150 faces in the next 6 months. The next 4 months, will you be one of my faces? So that's how you move your business forward, using these tools. So I really hope that helped, ladies. Again, if you have any questions, I'm going to go through the participants right now and just make a quick little draw. So don't hang up yet, because I do just want to get your name down. But if you have any questions, feel free to take your mute button off as I'm doing this and go from there and ask away. Anybody?
It was really helpful,
again,
Nadia.
in Newfoundland.
Hi. Is this my 5 children lady?
4.
4. Gracious.
4. It was just funny to put it into perspective when you said about Disney, because my kids really wanted to go on a Disney cruise.
Yeah.
And when I like priced it up and, you know, looked at how that would look for a family of 6, it's 236 miracle sets.
There you go.
That's how you figure out, okay, this is what it means for me to be able to give this to my kids, because you can't. I mean, you just worked out what you're left with, and you haven't bought groceries or anything yet.
That's
So
right.
when you really break it down, like, this was why, like, I joined for the discount, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I have all boys, so the estrogen was great.
Absolutely.
And then when I went to Angie's retreat, and she did the same thing with the $40,000, and I was like, so mommy needs to sell some Mary Kay to make this Disney trip happen.
That's right. Yeah, because the reality is it might not happen any other way in your current situation unless something drastically changes, right?
Yeah. I mean, by the time you have swimming lessons and basketball and gymnastics and all that stuff, there's nothing left.
Absolutely. Yep. No, totally understand. So yeah, ladies, break it down and know that what you're doing, the fastest way to get ahead certainly is to sell the product, share the opportunity. My winner is actually Christine. Who's Christine?
Yay,
So
that's me.
Yay! Who's hold on, where'd she go?
I'm here. I'm just off video because I'm driving with my children.
That's okay. Oh, Christine Plasko, right?
Gotcha.
So what you're going to do is you're going to send your address or get your director to send me your address.
It's me.
I will.
Oh, it's Raven?
Sure is.
All right. So congratulations. I will take pictures of these and send them off just in case you didn't get them all copied down. But I'm really excited for you guys all to be here tonight. And just by showing up means that you want to go up. And that's the biggest thing. I remember starting this business and whatever I could go to, whatever I could attend, just to learn something was where I wanted to be. So don't stop. Don't stop. Keep coming. So we'll see you next Wednesday. I think next Wednesday is Carol with some MK hacks, and you're definitely not going to want to miss it. So same time, same place. We'll see you next week. Lots of love. Have a powerful first week of February. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.